There's a moment people don't talk much about. It happens when you check your bank account after about a month where you did everything right. You worked hard, you paid all of your bills, you didn't splurge, and you skipped the things that you really wanted. And yet, that number in your account barely moved. Or even worse, it went backwards. That moment carries a quiet shame, a whisper that says, "What's wrong with me?" This episode is about that whisper. Why saving money feels impossible. Not because people are irresponsible, but because the ground beneath saving quietly disappeared. There was a time when saving happened almost automatically. You earned money, you paid for basics, what remained stayed. Not because people were smarter, but because life was perfect. But because the gap between income and expenses existed, margin was built into the system. Saving wasn't heroic, it was just normal. Like passive health regen when you weren't in combat. Over time, that gap narrowed. Not dramatically, quietly. Rent climbed faster than wages. Healthcare added deductibles and premiums. Food slowly crept upward. Transportation became mandatory and expensive. Insurance spread to everything, and fees quietly multiplied. Nothing alone destroyed saving. Together, they quietly erased it. When every dollar gets assigned before it even arrives, there's nothing left to protect. You're not bad at saving. You're operating in a system that pre-spends your money for you. Saving used to be passive. Now it feels like a high difficulty mechanic. Budget spreadsheets, apps, rules, envelopes, advanced columns screaming, just cut back. But cutting back only works when there's something left to cut. You can't min max your way out of a structural scarcity. At some point, optimization stops helping and exhaustion sets in. It feels like grinding mobs that no longer drop loot. And here's the cruelest part: the people who need savings the most are the least able to build them because emergencies don't wait for stability. Car repair, medical bill, vet visit, travel for family, rent increases. Every time you almost build a cushion, life crits it away. This creates a loop. You can't save because you have no buffer. You have no buffer because you can't save. That loop isn't personal failure, it's by design. Advice culture loves round numbers. Everyone should save $1,000. Just start with $500. Even $50 a month adds up. And mathematically, that is true. Emotionally, it misses the point. When people can't save, it's not because they don't understand the math. It's because every dollar already has a job. Telling someone to save in that context feels like telling a character with no inventory slots to just pick up more loot. Living without savings changes your nervous system. You become hyper aware. Every sound feels like a threat. Every email could be bad news. Every expense spikes your anxiety. You don't relax, you just brace. This constant vigilance drains energy. It makes people feel irresponsible, even when they're surviving intentionally. Saving isn't just financial, it's psychological safety. And when that safety is missing, everything feels heavier. Here's a twist that confuses people. Even high earners report struggling to save, not because they're reckless, but because higher income often comes with higher fixed costs. Housing scales up, childcare appears, healthcare plans get more complex, taxes rise, lifestyle expectations lock in. Income goes up, margin does not. Saving isn't about income alone, it's about what's left after unavoidable costs. And that's shrinking across the board. Saving requires one thing above all else: predictability. When your costs fluctuate, your job feels fragile, your rent isn't guaranteed, your health feels risky. Savings feels irresponsible. You don't hoard gold in a burning village, you spend it to stay alive. Modern life keeps people in a low level combat situation just long enough to prevent regen. Here's the truth that needs to be said plainly: millions of people didn't suddenly forget how to save. The rules changed. A system that demands flexibility, mobility, constant fees, and personal risk while offering less stability will naturally produce low savings. This isn't weakness, it's adaptation. People are using money to survive now, not to prepare for a future that feels uncertain anyway. This story isn't about shaming or lecturing, it's about clarity. Saving becomes possible when housing is stable, healthcare is predictable, income is reliable, emergencies don't wipe everything, and a margin exists. Personal discipline helps, yes, but only after the system stops attacking the buffer. You can't willpower your way into safety when the environment keeps eroding it. If saving money feels impossible, it's not because you lack discipline. It's because the jar never had a chance to fill. You've been pouring water into a container with a dozen tiny holes and blaming yourself for the leaks. Seeing that clearly matters because once you stop blaming yourself, you start asking better questions. Not what's wrong with me, but why is this so hard for everyone? And that's where real change begins. Remember, stay thoughtful, stay stubborn, and don't let a broken system convince you that survival is a personal flaw.